Hello Saber Junkies. So this video is probably going to be quite long and extensive just for the things that I have to go through, which is saying a lot for my videos, seeing as how they tend to go quite long. What I've got here is a couple of vaults of Valhalla etched Valkyries. I was commissioned with the task of creating a chassis that had metal components, was removable, and could be swapped out with other staffs. And so I set the task on that, and the first thing I built was the single unit. So this was for a single Valkyrie. I actually used one of these to model this so that I could get everything set just right. So I've had this one finished for quite a while. I've had videos on it already. But the task of this was definitely a hell of a task, and with the way this is, you know, you've got your speaker section here, and so making it removable, all of that was quite a challenge for me. Using this model, but continuing on with it to do both sides of the staff. So I guess the best thing to do is just show it to you. This one is David's and this one is Jacob's. So two different customers. I did them both at the same time because of the complexity of the builds, and I wanted to be able to just basically get them done, knowing that I was in for a hell of a ride to do it, and so I did them at the same time. I actually have a couple more of the singles that I'm going to do for Gerald, and after those, that's it. I'm not doing any more of these. I am going to try to put the STL files up on Etsy. If someone else wants to give it a go, they can, but I don't want to do these anymore because they are just, it's not that I can't do them, obviously I've got them done, I just don't really want to do them because they are a little bit more extensive than what I want to do on an everyday basis. And seeing as how this is my second job, I can pick and choose. So selling them, just the STL files on Etsy, sounds like you know, a good alternative. Let's get into this. Designing these were very interesting. So first, what I've got set up here is the power button on the opposite end of the speaker. So these are both set up the same. And I have the power button and the aux button. So they're set up as a 2-button setup. So let's take a look at this chassis here. And the first thing we're going to do, I am going to say, before I do that, we're going to go over the blade and how the blades work. And find my wrench. Where's my little wrench? There it is. Okay. So the way this is set up, because they don't have retention screws on these Valkyries, you have to use the shroud screw right here that's made a little bit longer, cut a little bit longer. And so I've done the one on the right side of the power button. So both sides are going to be the same. When you flip it over like this, it's the right side of the power button, or the auxiliary button in this case. But this, I'm hoping, will make it easier to remember. Here's the button, right side, don't mess with the other ones. So now that that's out of the way, both of these are the same way. All right, so we're going to do David's here. Getting these out, the first thing you want to do is actually take it apart before you try to get the buttons off. So to do that, we want to grab a hold of the speaker housing and then just turn this, and there we have the auxiliary side. Okay, and I'll show you how to get that out in a second. And then we want to take the handle off. You can leave the battery on there, that's fine, or the speaker housing on there. So you just turn this, and then it exposes the chassis. So let's set this over here for right now. So the chassis has basically the same as the single, except coming off of it we have this modular PCB holder that transfers the power to here using the 6-trace PCB. Now, because of this, I had to take it from a 28mm speaker to a 24mm speaker. Now, this is the first time that I've ever offset a speaker, which was interesting when it come to designing this. I offset the 24mm speaker in this direction so that I could then get the wires to run through this channel all the way up to here for the button and the blade LED wire. So 5 wires all together come from here. And then I actually had designed these little tabs here that then I drilled and tapped here and bolted these together here. So not only is it glued, it's also bolted on. And so this coming off with those on there is unlikely. We have a crystal chamber here, which is brass, and we have and there's a little gap right here. You can get your thumb in there. It's real easy to do. It's not a problem. And we have the battery and the board, so you have full access to everything. You want to make sure this is closed before putting it back together. And of course we have accent LEDs going on, a couple up here, and the crystal chamber. Now there's, well, before I get into that, let's go ahead and take this one off. So here's the chassis completely removed. Actually, no, it's not. Let's take this one out. You really have to grip onto this plunger to get it out of the hose. And then this one you just push out a little bit with your finger and it pops right out. So on these, a few things that had to be done in order to make this work was, because there is no retention screws, what I wound up doing is making the button holder the shape of the plunger, the end of the plunger. I made it that shape. And so when this tightens down, it goes into that and then it holds it in place so it doesn't move. Now, a caveat to this is to swap this out with another Valkyrie, you have to make sure that the switch is clear of anything. So just make sure that your empties that you have those clear, and you should not have any problem with swapping the chassis out. So there's always something, you know, that you have to do, especially when it comes to custom things like this right here. So I'm going to put this back together so that I can then show the other one, which is virtually the same. So when you're putting this back together, so see how you got wiggle right there? Kind of center it in that wiggle until it gets tightened down, until it hardly wiggles. And then you're good to go. Now let's go ahead and put this one in. This one here is a little bit more tricky because you really don't have anything to hang on to with it. So what I wound up doing, if you push it a little too far and you can't really get to it and you can't turn it, is I just use the wrench. I just use the wrench and kind of, you can kind of move it like that right there and just do it in a circle. And then you're set up and you can go right down with it. It does have to be precise. Now it's hitting the button. Okay, so putting it back together is the same. You just want to, one thing you want to make sure you do is do not cross thread these. They are easy to cross thread. And last piece. Now, I will say this one goes past it. And because this end is tighter, you can back it up right to here, and it's great. And of course, it does have the settings. And David, of course,
the battery level is 95%.
I put your
hello there.
got your 4 tracks that you want on there on the first 4 sound fonts. Okay, so let's move this over here now and we can get to the other one. Let's go ahead and take this one off here, grab it by the speaker housing. There. So this one has the same. See, you notice there that there's a little bit of wiggle right there. And that's because the switch isn't all the way down. So, pretty much the same setup. Kill switch on the side.
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Crystal chamber. Did the same with the speaker in there. And so, removing it is the same. And there it is. And so I did want to show one thing on these because this is kind of interesting. All right, let's line this up. Okay, so let's do this one here. Now, this is interesting. This is the pommel for a single unit. It actually fits on here. You can use this as a single unit, but the only difference is it don't hardly have any sound because of that. On most of these switches, you can actually kind of adjust them on the plunger side. Unscrew it just a little bit. If you go all the way down, it may not hit as good. So yeah, it's a single hilt. It would have been really cool if I could have made this piece to where it detached. But there was absolutely no way of doing that because you have the wires that come up to this. So it would have been really cool if I could have had vent holes on it so it could have vented through the pommel, and then there would be no need for this one. But there's no way. I mean, these are thin enough as it is. All of these are printed in multi-jet fusion, so that's why this is strong enough to withhold moving it around like it does. All right. So I just wanted to show that little thing there because I thought it was pretty cool. I wish that there was a way to do it so so that it could be used that way. Unfortunately, I would say that there could possibly be a design that could be made to where it has a quick disconnect. Like this part has a quick disconnect on both sides. You know, the main chassis would have to be made shorter to do that. Like it possibly, if you took the crystal chamber out and shortened it up, then you could actually do something like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mess with it at all, actually. So, yeah, my design days on the Valkyrie are done. Now we've got it on both sides.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I've got this volume down just a little bit.
Enter volume menu. Maximum volume. Exit volume menu.
So yeah, that is it. Pretty cool. I'm very happy with the way they turned out. I was just ecstatic that everything lined up just right. Taking my calipers, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these here. This is a way you can get the inside diameter if it's way up in there. These are great. Basically, you stick it up in there, and this will compress. And once you get it lined up just right, so basically like this, we'll unlock it. Once you get it lined up just right in the center, then you can lock this down and pull it out. And then you take your calipers and measure the distance here, and then you get your inside diameter. These are really great. So when you have different depths, for instance, the depth here is a different size than it is here. Fortunately, I could get to this point with taking this off and everything, so I just wanted to show them off. That's really all it was. So yeah, guys, that is it on these. And if you have any questions or comments on the chassis that I made for these, shoot me a comment. You know, I would love to hear from you. And I will see you guys on the next one. You have a great day, evening, morning, night, whatever. Have a good one, guys.